Leaders, real life leaders.
Hello, everyone. We are so excited that you're with us today, and we are super excited. We have two special guests. Today, our first guest is Michael Hellickson. He's a real estate extraordinaire. He was selling in his peak over 100 to 150 homes every single month. At one point, he was carrying 750 active and pending listings at one point. So we are talking about a real estate extraordinaire. Michael, welcome today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So we're going to dive right in. I want you to talk about what an agent can do to virtually guarantee success in 2024. What are some of the things?
You know, there's really three key habits that everybody's got to be in if they want to have just crazy success in 24. First, we got to understand where we're at in the marketplace today, right? I mean, at the end of the day, 23 was tough for a lot of agents. That's actually good for those that remain because a lot of agents got out of the business. And so the number of transactions came down by 26 to 32% nationwide. Well, good news, the transaction count is already starting to tick back up. We're seeing interest rates come down, and there's a promise on the horizon of interest rates dropping even further. All the while, we have fewer agents in the business. It's very similar to what happened in 2006 to 2008, where in 2006, the average agent was doing 4.5 transactions per year. And by 2008, that number had skyrocketed to 8.8 transactions per year. So almost double per agent. I think that we're going to see a very similar dynamic in 2024. So here's the key. Here's the three things, the three key habits every agent's got to be mastering in order to really crush it in 24. Number one is lead generation. Everybody's got to lead generate. Now, a lot of people would say, oh, but Michael, all my leads come from my sphere of influence. And that all sounds great until you realize that 8 years ago, 61% of the average agent's business came from their sphere of influence. And that number dropped to below 40% just this last couple of years. Well, why is that? Because 92% of all buyers start their search online, and fully 72% of those work with the first agent they come in contact with. So sphere of influence isn't enough. We've got to also be generating leads in other ways as well. And so lead generation is the key. Now, I'll tell you, one of the things that we need to be cognizant of with lead generation is the importance of diversifying our lead flow. Unfortunately, too many people are a one-trick pony. They're all referrals all the time, or they're all expireds all the time, or they're all social media all the time. You've got to have a diversified lead flow. In fact, if you want to make, regardless of the market you're in, if you want to make $250,000 in 2024 as a real estate agent, the best thing you can do is have 10 to 15 lead sources consistently sending you leads every single day. You want to make 7 figures, you're going to need 30 to 35 lead sources consistently sending you leads every day. Now, if you'll do that, you'll diversify that lead flow, and then you'll master follow-up. Guess what will happen? You'll start developing a pipeline of people that will start spitting out transactions over time. All right, so what does this look like? So first and foremost, the lead sources. For those of you that don't have enough lead sources right now, I'll give you a list because we're in the interest of time. Chantel, is it okay if I just give a quick list?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So guys, grab your cell phones. Here's what I'm going to do. I don't have time to go through the whole list. I'm going to give you 31 of my favorite lead sources. I want you to send a text message. You're going to send the words Club Wealth to the following phone number. It's 727-287-5993. I'll give it to you again. 727-287-5993. Text the words Club Wealth, 2 words. That's the name of our coaching company, by the way. And we will automatically send you a list of 31 of our favorite lead sources. Now, we go through the lead sources every year. We measure we measure this across all of our clients, all across the U.S. and Canada. Our typical client does over 200 transactions a year. We're the number one coaching company in the team and brokerage space. And what we do is we look at the lead sources that they've been using. We look at the ROI by lead source. We look at the cash conversion cycle for each lead source. In other words, how long does it take to get our money back when we invest in a particular lead source? And we rank these and we create this list every year. We update our list. And so By sending me that text message, we'll give you the top 31 or 31 of the top.
Give us the top 3 right now, and we'll have them do that so they can get all of them. But give us 3 of them.
Well, I'm gonna exclude sphere of influence for a minute, because everybody should be working their sphere. Everybody works their sphere. If they're not working their sphere, they're probably not in real estate. So I'm gonna exclude that for the time being. I will tell you, and it depends on what tier you're in, where you're at in the business. If I'm new in the business, right? Or if I don't have a lot going on, if I'm doing fewer than 25 transactions a year, well, then I probably have more time than money. So I'm going to do things that take time but don't cost a lot of money, right? Things like open houses, FSBOs, expireds, those kinds of things. And they work really well. And by the way, open houses on fire right now. Open houses are doing really, really well. In fact, if you go to our blog, go to clubwealth.com/blog, there's a blog post there that'll give you the steps, you can download the actual checklist for free on how to get anywhere from 50 to 150 people out to each open house. So open house is a very good one for people in all tiers. If you're brand new in the business, if you've been in the business a while, but you're doing fewer than 25 transactions, that's probably my favorite. And then there's, of course, expireds, FSBOs, and cold calls are always going to work. Now, if you've got a little bit of money and you've got a little bit of bandwidth behind you, I would recommend lead sources like leadslikecandi.com, one of my favorite lead sources. We own a technology company as well, an AI company, and all of our AI companies use that lead source, or all of our AI clients use that lead source, leadslikecandi.com. It's affordable. It's good leads. They require a lot of follow-up and nurture. They're a little bit of a longer-term cash conversion cycle, but the ROI is through the roof. It's a very, very good ROI. Then my favorite right now, number 1 lead source on planet Earth right now, bar none, is Google LSA. Google is on fire right now. They're going after Zillow in a big way. They want to become the behemoth in the lead generation market. They're doing in terms of real estate. And they're doing it for other businesses as well, but they've decided they want to go big on real estate. They're doing very well with it. It's very affordable right now comparatively. Probably won't be for long as people start to catch on, as people start to use it. But Google local service ads is absolutely on fire. I've got one client as an example in Louisiana. She covers the whole state of Louisiana. She lists literally 10 listings out of that one lead source every single month. And so it's great. It's fantastic.
So explain what exactly that is.
Google local service ads is very simple. It's just you're paying Google to run ads on Google. It's different than pay-per-click, but it's local service ads. It's a specific kind of denomination of Google leads. But what they do is, so if somebody types in, I want the best real estate agent in Boca Raton, Florida. Well, you want to come up as number 1, number 2, or number 3 on that list. Give you an example. My son, as a brand new agent in the business, because he had the right coach, one of our coaches, of course, who does Google LSA at a very high level, she taught him exactly what to do with his. And he was ranking number 1, 2, or 3 all over Washington State, even though he had only done a few transactions at that point in time. This was last year. Year before last. And so the reason I bring that up is because it's not about how long you've been in business. It's not about how many transactions you've done. Right now, it's the Wild West on GLSA. And anybody, regardless of how long they've been in the business or how many transactions they've done, can rank very high. And it's a really good lead source. I mean, you got to think these are very high intent leads. These are people that went to Google looking for a real estate agent. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
Wow. And what kind of cost per lead are those?
It could be very low. It could be as low as $10 a lead, believe it or not. Now, it depends on your market, depends on how competitive your market. It could be a couple $100 a lead. But at the end of the day, it's actually very, very affordable right now compared to other lead sources. I would say that in terms of paid lead sources, that and Leads Like Candy are my 2 favorite paid lead sources right now. They're fantastic. And Margie asks, is it connected to ZBuyer? And the answer is yes. Leads Like Candy is actually our discount link into ZBuyer, so you get a discount on their service. And you get to work with our rep down there, whose name is Eva Langley. Fantastic. I've worked with her for, 15, 20 years. And so Google LSA, however, is not connected to that. Yes, absolutely. And by the way, Margie, a lot of people will say, oh, that lead source sucks. And you know what I say to them? No, you freaking suck. Why? Because that means you're not following up with your leads. I can tell you, I had somebody just the other day in our Facebook group. By the way, if you go to facebook.com/groups/Club Wealth, you can join our Facebook group. But I'll tell you, I had somebody in the group just the other day complaining about that particular lead source. And I had like 10 other people jump into that same conversation and say, look, man, I listed 3 out of that last month. I get buyers out of it every month. They're closing. I mean, if you follow up with the leads, they're fantastic leads, but they've got to be nurtured.
So good. So right now, a lot of agents are kind of thinking, maybe I should have a side hustle. Like, should I start, things are slow. Like I might want to do like Uber Eats or start doing other things. What is your opinion on the side hustle?
For most people that are considering a side hustle, what they really need to do is master their primary hustle, right? Because the reality is going and getting a side hustle, if you're not hustling at what you're doing already, ain't going to do you any good. You're just going to suck at that as bad as you suck at this. So if you want to get better at this and make money here, and then after you've got systems in place and strategies in place that are consistently working for you, consistently producing revenue for you, great, you can do a side hustle. But I would recommend that side hustle be related to what you're doing. It needs to be something that you can upsell people you're already working with. But the key is develop your clientele first, right? Get people to know, like, and trust you. And really, I'll be honest with you, they don't even have to like you. Just build relationships on trust, right? Get people to trust you, take really good care of them, and then they'll buy anything from you, right? If it's really good, right? And by the way, that Joe, you're going to text the words Club Wealth to that number, 727-287-5993. Text the words Club Wealth, that number. That's how you get the lead sources. But that being said, in terms of side hustles, if you're absolutely going to have a side hustle, number one, make it something that your clients are going to want to buy. Don't be like, a lot of people say, well, I'm going to go drive Uber Eats. Well, okay. And I hear the argument, but as a Uber driver, I get business once in a while from people that are riding in my car. Well, I can drop a business card on the ground. Somebody could randomly pick it up and I get business that way too. But does that make it a good strategy for me to make money long term? No, that's just dumb, right? What you need to do is you need to develop what's called the perfect daily schedule. And that means you're going to have a time-blocked day, very specifically weighting the morning time every day toward lead generation, lead follow-up, and lead conversion. And those need to be the only 3 things you do between the hours of 8 and noon every day. The reality is that most real estate agents, they aren't that disciplined. That's why I could take a new kid. My son is a great example of this, right? Last year, he started, 2021. No, that's all right. 2022 was his first year selling real estate, January 1st. He listed 97 homes in his first year and over 120 in his second year selling real estate at 21 years old. Why? And he started when he was 19. Why was he able to do that? Because he developed a perfect daily schedule and he followed it consistently every single day. He still looks and sounds like he's in puberty. I mean, this kid is like, right? I mean, you don't have to be the best looking, the most intelligent, the most articulate, the most anything person to make money in this business. What you have to be is disciplined.
So give us a kind of, during that, 8 a.m. to noon, give us exactly, because one of the things that drives me nuts is when people kind of make goals and commitments and they're like, well, my commitment is I'm going to make 5 calls per day, and then they think that's going to do something. How many calls are you suggesting that people make? And, what exactly else are they doing from that? Like, try to be as specific as possible from 8 to noon.
That's a great question. Okay, so I'll even be more specific. You want to make more money? Go to a physical office every day and go early in the morning. And I'm not talking about your home office. I'm talking about go to a physical office every day. Be there at the very latest by 7:30 in the morning. The biggest producers on planet Earth, they're in their office by 6:30 in the morning every morning. They're getting more done by 9 o'clock than most people get done all day. So that's step 1. Step 2, from 7:30 to 8, you want to be doing your daily huddle with your team. If you're on a team, if you don't have a team, then you want to have some kind of an accountability partner or call that you're doing from 7:30 to 8 o'clock every day. From 8 o'clock till noon, there's only one thing you want to be doing, and that's pounding the phones. And listen, guys, I didn't make Facebook expired or cold calls the last 15 years of my career, and I was the number 1 agent on the planet. So I'm not saying you got to do this forever, but I'm saying if you're doing less than 75 transactions a year already, you're going to need to do this every day. And if you're doing 75 to 500 transactions a year, you're still going to be pounding the phones from 8 till noon. It's just you're going to be probably recruiting instead of making lead generation calls, and you'll be doing a lot of lead follow-up as well. Now, that being said, what do those calls look like? literally, it's not about the number of calls you make. It's about the number of appointments you set. And this was an epiphany for me. One of our coaches, Luigi Caprio, taught me this years ago, and it changed my world. When I was focused on the number of calls that I made, guess what happened? I would plow through my calls. I'd just work really, really hard to get to that next call, to make as many calls as humanly possible. But what I wasn't doing is I wasn't really looking for the appointment. I wasn't focused on getting the appointment. When I started focusing on number of appointments set every day, all of a sudden I could make fewer calls and set more appointments, because every single call I was on, I was focused on, how do I get an appointment with this person? How do I get face-to-face with this person? And so that's...
And how many appointments? Is there any kind of, number where you can say, okay, if I want to close, let's just say someone says, I want to close 4 homes per month. If I want to close 4 homes per month, how many appointments does that mean I need to set per day? Projecting I'm only wanting to work 5 days a week.
Yeah, no, that's super easy. Yeah, and you can do it. If you want to close 4 homes per month, you need to be setting 4 appointments a day. So for every home you want to close per month, that's how many appointments you need to set per day with people you've not yet met. Super simple. And whatever marketplace you're in, you could do the math on what that's going to work out to for commissions for you. And if you'll do that 5 days a week, and listen, here's the thing. Watch this. Chantel, you want to know who knows more about lead conversion than real estate agents?
Who?
I'll give you a hint. You guys see if you can guess. And you guys type it into the chat if you think you can guess this, but I'll give you a hint. It's another industry. Think of another industry that's really good at lead conversion, better than real estate agents, because they understand what they have to do to get people to convert to their product. In fact, everybody here knows at least one of these. In fact, I'll bet there's probably at least one of these watching the freaking call right now. Well, okay, I see insurance typed into the chat, mortgage reps. Yeah, those are both good. Used car salespeople, right? You guys are close. It's your local drug dealer. What? Yeah, seriously, think about this. What do drug dealers know about lead conversion that real estate agents don't? Watch this. Write this down. First one's free, then you got to pay. Now, guys, relax. I've never done drugs. I don't even say it.
Everyone's like, oh my gosh.
Right? But it's freaking true, right? So listen, I've never done drugs in my life, but I can tell you this is one lesson that we need to learn from that industry, right? First one's free, then you got to pay. The problem with most real estate agents is when they get somebody on the phone, what do they want to do? They want to, before they show them a house, they want to get them pre-qualified or pre-approved, right? Stupid. That's just the sales prevention team. That's a dumb move. Here's the deal. You got a pulse? You want to see the house? We're going to see the house. I'm going to get face-to-face with as many people as humanly possible, as fast as humanly possible. Now, what if they don't qualify? Who cares? Show them some respect. Show them a little dignity, right? Because guess what happens? They can refer you to people, and you can spend the next year or have your lender spend the next year, however long it takes, getting them qualified. But because you showed them respect that nobody else did, you're the one they're going to trust. You're the one they're going to want to do business with. You're the one they're going to want to refer. Guys, that's rule number 1 is first one's free, then you got to pay. And then once you do meet them, get a buyer agency agreement signed. It's not hard. It's actually very easy if you are focused on that. So changing your focus from number of calls to appointments, and changing your focus from, just having conversation and getting them pre-approved to I'm going to take them out and I'm actually going to show them a house will change your world. Let's talk about listings for a second, Chantel. So right now, my son at 21 years old is the number 1 listing agent in the country. He himself, not anybody else on his team. This is just him, just his deals, just going out on mom and pop listing appointments, listed over 120 homes in 2023. When I was selling real estate, I was listing 50 to 75 houses a month, not counting REO, which was about half my business, and not counting my teams. And Scott, that's a great question. No, I'm not counting REO in these numbers. I'm glad you asked that question. Now watch this. What are we doing differently? Again, we're not the best salespeople in the world. We're not the best looking. Heck, my mom even said I've got a great face for radio, right? Good thing this podcast isn't if you have video podcast, right? So that being said, what did we do different? What is it that we're doing that's getting these results? It's literally being consistent every single day. And when we get someone on the phone, the bad advice that a lot of coaches are out there giving right now is, hey, if they're not a 8, 9, or a 10 on the motivation scale, and you're not pretty sure they're going to work with you when you meet with them, don't go on the listing appointment. That's horrible advice. Listen, if they have a freaking pulse, you go be Jerry freaking Maguire in their living room. That's what you need to do. Get face-to-face with it. What you hear over the phone and what reality is when you get there are usually 2 completely different worlds. You don't know the truth until you're face to face with them. People lie over the phone all the time. They'll tell you that the house is free and clear, and then you get out there and you find out it's a short sale, right? Guys, you've got to get face to face with them so they can trust you and they'll do business with you. And finally, write this down. BROT. The key to all of this, whether you're working in your sphere of influence, social media, cold calls, expireds, FISBOs, open houses, any of the other online lead sources, regardless of how you're getting your leads, write this down. This is the key. BROT. Write that down. BROT. That stands for building relationships on trust. People do not need to like you to do business with you. They just need to trust you. And so if you'll build relationships on trust, you'll build a pipeline that will pay you for a lifetime.
And that's part of that is doing what you say. If you say, I'll call you right back, you're calling them right back. If you call them in 5 minutes, I'll call you in 5 minutes, that they know that they can count on you. Well, this has been wonderful, Michael. Tell listeners where they can find you and where they can follow you.
So I'm on all social media. Predominantly, we're on Facebook. We're also on Instagram. But I would say Facebook, I'm very good at responding to people. If you send me a Facebook message, you can go to our website, clubwealth.com. If you go to our blog at clubwealth.com/blog, there's more free information on there, better and more free information on there than you will get if you pay for coaching with most companies out there. Just go in there and devour all those blog posts, download the free checklist, and just start with that. Get some stuff happening now. If you want to do a strategy session with me or one of my coaches, right there on clubwealth.com, you can select that you'd like to do a strategy session where we'll look at your business. We'll take a look at what's working for you, what's not working for you, what you're willing to do, what you're not willing to do, and where you are now and where you want to go. And we'll build you a roadmap for the next 12 months on exactly what you need to do every day. And we'll do this for you once a year at no cost. My goal is, I want you walking away from that.
The first one's free, right? Like the drug.
That's literally it. Yeah, that is literally it. I want you to walk away from that call saying, man, if they'll do that for me for free, I can't imagine what they'll do when I'm paying them. So
I love it. Well, we have a special treat for you guys right now. Please show Michael some love in the chat. We now have Jordan Silvester with us, and he is a real estate professional as well, and he is crushing it right now. So Jordan, welcome.
Hey, thanks.
Jordan, I'd love for you to tell listeners a little bit about what brought you into the real estate space and what got you to be able to crush it like you are.
Yeah, so I started back in 2008 as the market was crashing. My dad had been in business since 1988. So just for some context, I did jump into a team, was able to, cut my teeth doing all of the admin work. So a lot of CMAs. And so one of the big things that people ask is, how can you do CMAs at the speed you do now? It says, because I did hundreds of them when I first joined my dad's team. And it's like, here's what that's worth. Here's how you value it. So again, when I was looking at working with my dad, like we had a lot of the bank in Canada, they're called power of sale, similar to a repo in the US. So we were dealing with a lot of transactions that were difficult, and we've moved back into that market now. And that's one of the things. We're not seeing a lot of the bank repossessions yet, but we are seeing a lot of difficult conversations with clients. And so one of the things that I'm very grateful for was I entered into the business, my dad taught me so much about how to deal with clients in a caring, loving manner. He was saying trust is the most important thing. Not everyone's going to like what you have to say. Not everyone's going to like the reality of where they're at, but everyone needs to understand that you care about them and that you're doing the best you can for them in spite of how they feel about the circumstance. So again, when you enter the business, and again, my dad had built a very solid business. So from the lead gen perspective, I actually suffered because once the market shifted, one of the cool things was I had to really reteach myself how the business operates. We went from doing about 125 transactions a year, and then I was doing about 42 transactions a year and went, like what happened and why? And then started to ask some really cool clarifying questions as I basically rebuilt the team and started to really possess the market in real estate again and drive back up to about 112 transactions last year and aiming for about 168 this year. So again, with the drive underneath, a lot of it's social based. There's lots of lead gen sources, leading with social media, leading with information. It's the give first.
Let's talk about that. What right now is your number one lead source that is bringing in the most leads, and give us as specific as possible what's working.
Yeah. So right now, the biggest thing that's working is because we're really launching a massive social media presence. We're running contests, very simple contests, nothing too extravagant, but basically it's, hey, go sign up on our webpage, and everything redirects to the webpage. And then from there, they get to give us their contact info. And if they want, they can, let us know why. We have somebody reaching out to them within the next 24 hours, sometimes same day. It just depends on if it comes in at 2 a.m, right? Usually next business day, we're reaching out and just saying, hey, great, thanks for reaching out. Real estate, can we support you in any way? Is there anything you need, like home valuation, renovation budget lists, any contacts that we can support you with in what you're looking to do next? So they basically, I have a crew that's responding to those as they come in. From there, they're then setting appointments, of course, and then I'm heading out to appointments and trying to grow the business that way. So what we're seeing a lot of is we're seeing that people are enjoying the, and it's a $50, just so we're clear, it's a $50 Amazon card. It doesn't need to be an extravagant thing. People will give you their information and it's an easy call. It says, hey, thanks for signing up on the website. And then you just lean in. And then, so we're rolling through.
But hold on. So back up for just a second. Give me some specific examples of what that they have a chance, is what I'm hearing you say.
Yep.
They have a chance to win a $50 Amazon gift card if they do what? Give us a couple.
So when you come to the website, if you were to go there right now, jordansilvester.com, it's going to pop up. The first thing you'll see is, hey, if you want to enter this contest, give us your name, your phone number, and your email address, right? And so it's giving you those options. And then basically once that comes into our system, right? And then you can skip that and just go right into the regular website. But that's the first thing they're going to hit when they get there. And right now we're launching the website. It was just launched a few months ago. So we're leaning in with that. And then Facebook's following right behind it. TikTok's right behind that. And then we're leading in with LinkedIn. And then we're going to follow up with YouTube and kind of keep rolling the monthly thing to see, so we can learn where all the data is coming from. And somebody's like, why wouldn't you just do them all at once? It says, well, then you can't lead source what really works and what's really working to grow your following online, which is where you're getting this more traffic, right? Because you want to meet people you don't know. If you're going to like Michael said, we have a great sphere of influence. Like I get a ton of my business automatically from repeat and referral. But if you want to grow, then where do you find that? And again, you have Google ads, you have, all the different things you can do within those. But the biggest thing that I'm learning is if you're just authentic and honest on the websites and in places, go live on Facebook and different things, you'll get a huge amount of people just starting to look at you. And then all it is a simple click, and then they get something free possibly. And I will say this, we are going to follow up with everyone. And then we try to, if they don't want to do something now, we will send them a card. We're going to follow up. So just so you know, it's not just the gift card. There will be a card coming, probably $5 to either Starbucks or McDonald's or something, just to say thank you for getting into our world. So that is the baseline of what's lead generating into our appointments. So allowing us to go from doing, 1 to 2 appointments a week up to 10 to 15 appointments a week, which then of course, once you start to see the conversion there, then it starts the pipeline builds. Once the pipeline's building, then you can continue to run down that road.
So do you do a contest for like sellers? Do you do anything to try to generate sellers? What would that look like?
So specifically once they're on the calls, then we're very much creating we're targeting listings lead to leverage open house, right? He mentioned how you pick up a lot of buyers through open houses. Buyers, again, in the current market, because we're in a depressed market, buyers are almost as valuable as listings because a lot of people who have money can afford to buy, because we are in a current, what I would call stable market where there's conditions, there's people transacting in what we would consider normal real estate process. For a few years, at least in our region, we had everything was insane. Prices were insane. You were just competing. There was no amount of education required to really be a realtor. You could just put a sign in the lawn and things happened. Today, it requires a lot more work. We have a system running underneath, which my team operates as well, which is our client care system. Somebody wants to get into the listing, we have an immediate welcome package that we will go and drop off, even if they don't want to have the first upfront meeting. So if they say, no, we don't really want anything now, we'll stop by, give them our guides, give them the quick tips and do that. And then again, in there's follow-up, right? So all of this is just constant give. And then people start to call back. People start to respond. It's funny when you say, hey, can you help me versus, hey, I'm here to sell something. People love that. They want to help you. So a lot of the stuff is designed to ask for help, to ask for assistance from them for us. So if you have a neighbor or somebody else that you know that might need something like this, say, feel free to send them our way, right? And then we reward those actions.
So right when you first go in, and I'll go ahead and type your website right at the front. But when you first go to your website, you have a pop-up and it says, subscribe to win. Please enter your info for a chance to win and receive exclusive real estate updates. Win a $50 Amazon gift card. So because you have that $50 Amazon gift card, do a lot of people go ahead and fill that out right away because they're like, I might as well go ahead and give a chance.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. So people, because it's just something simple, it's enough that people would want it. So it's not, $5, but you don't need to go with extravagant things because they literally just type the information and they understand that odds are I'm going to send them something, right? Because I literally say, I'm going to send you information regarding real estate. That's the premise right before. And so what we want to do though, is we want to make sure that it's not, we send them some contact information. There's information on the website, but we also, like I said, I have someone make that phone call to them directly after that comes in. And so we're following up immediately with calls 3 times. Again, other people have their things. I've advised 3 phone calls, no response. If we have their email, we put them into a drip campaign. We run a slightly less aggressive campaign because that just means the person wanted to access the thing, and that's fine. We understand some people don't want to communicate. We're going to let them be. We're not trying to be like pushy. 3 phone calls, hang it up, move on. Because again, there are some that say 5, 10. There's all kinds of metrics. For us so far, it's been 3. After the 3rd call, you've left a message. We leave a message after the 3rd call, and then we follow up with a drip campaign, which is either email, or if they happen to come onto our socials and we see them there, we'll respond through another medium. So Facebook Messenger. That's a little more complicated. We're still working that out. I'll be absolutely honest. Like that's something we're really trying to figure out is when, like, what's too much contact and what's the right amount of contact where people feel like you're chasing them or they're just not responding this medium. Maybe they're at work all the time when we make the phone call and things like that. So it's finding the balance for my team to be active in their highest leverage so that we can continue to move forward. And we're all like people who want to do this with us and would want to understand what we're doing. We can give you the pieces of that puzzle. I personally have not fully finished it. I have my team working on getting something together for agents, but if you wanted to have a conversation with me, I'd be more than happy to tell you what we're doing and like test pilot it in your market. Maybe it's just different. We're Canadians up here, American, like there's differences in the way that people respond, but overall it's just getting the concepts of what's working for this specific marketing event and what isn't, and then making sure we amplify where is necessary and stop if it's not profiting the public the way we want. We want to be very transparent that I'm not salesy. I don't like to be in sales. I like to help people get what they want out of the transaction. And by that, I get compensated. So for me, that's what I try to lean with. It's always leaning with that heart, with that integrity. So
one thing that I love on your website is you've got this like really natural picture of you and you put authenticity is key. What you see is what you always get. Mm-hmm. And unlike many realtors, Jordan doesn't wear the suit and tie. He's authentic, down to earth. And you kind of put some different things like why choose Jordan? And you put, Jordan prioritizes genuine, lasting connections. He's authentic and real. And you kind of have this, just coming through on your website without even ever meeting you. It really shines through that you are relationship focused. You're really all about genuine, lasting connections. You're authentic and you're real, and you're not trying to come off as someone that you're not. And so I just want you to know I really love that. And I love that you just put that right center, why choose Jordan? Like this is kind of the 6 things that make Jordan different. So let's talk a little bit about what you're doing to convert some of the leads that you had, from before and not just getting, everyone's trying to get new leads. Do you have any processes in place to kind of go back through and get any of the leads who came in a year ago or 2 years ago?
So it's been really interesting and so I hired a team underneath me to take care of a lot of the phone calls. And the reason, I'll be absolutely honest, because like I said, when I joined this business, my dad, I was able to run behind him and it was like, there was a ton of business to do because my dad liked to stay in the office and I was the one running. That made sense. Like I'm the kid, he's sending me and I learned a ton and grew a ton. So one of the things was though, I didn't make a lot of calls. He would stay in the office and make the calls. And so as I got older, and then the phones were there, for whatever reason, I'm not intimidated if the phone rings and I answer it. I'm very intimidated to pick it up and call. And that's an insane thing. And for a lot of people, it's a roadblock. What I learned very simply with my coaches and with some real things is stop trying to do something you're not going to do and just do the things you're really, really good at and hire somebody else to do that. So what I did was I've hired people, scripted them, and basically it's still me talking, because what's really interesting is if you actually come to the website and you get a response, says Jordan Silvester, odds are it's one of my people responding. And we're authentic in the sense that they know how I would respond, how we're going to create, and then you get me. So if somebody does reach out, you will get direct to me. Once there's a communication, I get the follow-up from them. But what was really helpful for me was to allow my team to make those calls and to do that work. And then I'm the appointment guy. I go out, meet the people. I'm the guy who's front-facing. I'm the guy who is going to do the production side. But when it came to the lead gen side, and again, Michael said this too, is how much money do you have? I was willing to invest into people versus not, because I know the value of that asset. Even though myself, as much as I understand the scripting, I've taken the classes, I've done all that, it's a blockage. And maybe one day I'll stop. But for now, I learned that pay someone else to do it because it's very beneficial for the business. So when, like, again, I had to learn through a lot of things in life, the things that I'm very successful at and the things I'm just not. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with understanding your limitations and your weaknesses in this business. And if you recognize them, the best thing you can do, lean into your strengths and then hire your weaknesses. I've already told my team who's already working with me the same thing. I said, hey, find the parts of the job you don't like, because when we go to do our next hire, those are the things we want to go find next. Because if you're parts of your job you love, and then everybody there's still parts of the job that I don't like. And I'd love to hire somebody else to take them on. But that's
and I will tell you that I'm going to encourage everyone on this call. We have the ability we've got a team. We've got some people in India. We have some people in the Philippines, but they are working for $4 an hour. And right now, I want to encourage everyone listening here. If you email bod@canzel.com, we will help you hire an assistant for $4 to $5 an hour, depending on the strength of the person that you want. But like you said, if you're not going to make the calls, then you need to hire someone to help you do that, and even split that with someone else. We do charge $1,000 up front to find that person, to train them, to help kind of get them going for you. But you need someone to first, help you learn, let them learn the systems, make sure they're good. But I really agree with that. Hiring people is really the greatest thing that you can do to take yourself to the next level.
Yeah.
What would you say if you had to name the top 3 things that you did this year that kind of turned yourself around? What would be those 3 things that you kind of committed to doing this year that kind of really helped grow your business?
So one was hire a personal assistant, literally somebody who is, so I have her code named in my phone as Shield. And the reason she's there is to protect me from me more than it is to protect me from the public. She does that too. But one of the things I am is I'm a high level ADD human who gets sidetracked all the time. So she's learning, and I've given her permission to basically task me, which means that she controls my day, not me. She controls my calendar, not me. Now, that doesn't mean I don't get to put my personal time in, my golf, things that are important to me. I'm allowed to put those in. But after that, if she tasks me with something and she messaged me, says, this task's now there, I have to respond to that task. And if I don't, she has the right to, we've created a system that allows her the function to basically call me out, right? And then put me in this place, right? And so we have, some of it's social media. So we have a weekly thing. I haven't yet failed to get things done in the timeline. So I haven't had to go and eat it, because that's the thing. If you don't have something, I've learned this for me, I need something pretty heavy as a consequence to not take action around things that I should be taking action around. And that's not because I'm bad. It's just my personality. I will do what I want versus what's necessary sometimes. And I've learned that the most important thing is to do the most important things first, then do whatever you want. If you get all your work done, go play. But you can't neglect the most important things. And having somebody in your life that helps you do that is massive. And like I said, these are other, the phone calls, these were the 2 big hires I've made this year. And the biggest one's my social media guy. Everything I post, I talk, we go over, we script. He posts everything. I don't ever get a chance to say yes or no. it just goes. I give them some context. I give them like, hey, I don't really want it to be this. I don't want it to be like that. We have a framework, but I'm not micromanaging it because it's so easy sometimes to be like, well, I don't really want it that, or I don't want, and you spend how many hours of your life trying to make this perfect statement when the public, honestly, will just read it and they're never going to think anything else. I always tell my people, and as much as I tell myself this, because I've been coached this, is no one knows what you're supposed to say on social media. They don't know what you're supposed to say on the phone. They just expect that you're going to call and care. And as long as you do that.
We call that, what you just said, we call it around here, we call it GETMO, which means good enough to move on.
Yep.
And what happens is like you just said, you'll be like, oh, my hair didn't look good, or, I didn't sound right when I said that, or, I should have done this instead. No, it's good enough to move on. I'm going to give it to you and go ahead and post it. Otherwise, you can get so caught up in all those details and it can drive you crazy.
Yeah.
And you don't get anything done.
No, and so what I would say to everyone is what I've done is I bought back a bunch of my time. I'm choosing to spend a lot of money. Like Michael said, if you don't, you can do a lot of these things yourself. You can go live on Facebook for free. You don't need to pay someone to cut your videos. You can go in and buy the editing software or use the free stuff and make a lot of good content yourself. There are a lot of really cool ways. If you're competent and capable and you're starting out, it doesn't need to be, for me, because I have the wherewithal and the business acumen, and I have a business running behind me that generates a certain amount of income due to the referral business that exists. I leverage that into what I'm doing now, which is amplifying, right? So the 4X or 10X is the objective, but 4X is the practical of spending this money to invest into my future. And that's 4X in the next year. That's the main target. So that's growing the business from about $250,000 all the way up to about $1 million or even 1.2 million this year alone. And by next year, that goal is already set, and that's set at 3.6. So when you start to look at the realities of what you're doing, it's also, and again, I will admit that the perspective is that the market's also going to adjust in an upward fashion. If it doesn't, because we're commission-based, we're percentage-based. So I want to be clear. Be very cautious with your goals and set them around parameters that you can control, which is, he said that earlier, set appointments, not the calls. I would say this, if you're in at this level, it's not about the amount of money you make per transaction, but it is transaction based. So it's the amount of closings. So you should set a money goal. I think that's practical, but at the same time, you should also just set a basic transaction goal, because that's something you can meet and is not required of the increase or decrease. Because if you have a $50,000 or $100,000 decrease in your market value, well, that's $2,500 a transaction, or however whatever you charge less than what you would normally get. And so when you're looking at that can adjust at the end of the year. When you're doing 150 transactions times X, that can make a $70,000 or $100,000 or $150,000 adjustment to your projection. So side note, sorry, a little off topic, but when I'm projecting and then I'm trying to amplify my projections by the consistency, like I said, right now we're building systems and we're adjusting. I'll say this, I'm learning that moving at the tip of a dime is not to say don't continue with something that isn't working just yet, but it is to listen to what the information is telling you and adapt yourself to it. Don't be so stubborn if you think this is how it has to be. It's not necessarily true for you. You gotta work within yourself and understand yourself really well and what you're willing to do and what you're not, and then lean in on those things. Where if you love open houses, do them. If you want to make those phone calls and you're really good at cold calls, go do them. Like, man, if you're great at what you are great at, amplify that first and then add in these other things afterwards.
I love it. Well, this has been awesome. Tell listeners where they can find you and where they can follow you.
You can follow me if you go to jordansilvester.com. We're there, and then from there you can follow me on Facebook. You can follow me on Twitter. Not Twitter. Sorry, I do have Twitter, so you're welcome to come follow me there. But most of my content is on TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook. We are on LinkedIn as well. More than happy to connect. Like I said, if anybody wants to jump in to what I'm up to and look at what I'm doing and game plan, or you've been doing other things in the social media worlds and you've got, things that are working for you, I'd love, feedback into my world, because I'm learning the whole time. I'm using people and trying to listen and understand, but at the same time, guys, there's such a wealth in this business that when we can work together, it's amazing what we can do. And you're welcome to, reach out, and I'd love to have a conversation.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Real Life Leadership. If you'd like to get the show notes or access more resources, log on to reallifeleaders.com/podcast to get the show notes from this episode and any other resources we might have mentioned. And also, we'd love to hear from you. Be sure to review or rate this podcast on Apple Podcasts to help spread the word. And if you have any leadership questions you want answered, email podcast@reallifeleaders.com.